Thunder Bay institution faces some major problems. Thunder Bay's new consolidated courthouse prepares to open its doors. The Supreme Court rejects a Stephen Harper appointee.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. A Thunder Bay institution is facing some big challenges.
The Finlandia Association, which operates the Hoito and the Embassy Bar and Bistro, is dealing with a problem many organizations are having: an aging board of directors. $2 million worth of upgrades to the Finlandia Hall and downtime at the Hoito during construction have also left the association with some debt. However, the addition of the new bar is creating a new revenue stream. The association recently held an annual general meeting and was barely able to keep the board with enough members. Only 7 people are sitting on the 13-member board. Vice Chair Vesavanska says another AGM will be held next month to attract new members.
We'll manage somehow. I mean, we can't close the doors because we don't have enough members. And from what I understand, a lot of places, for instance, maybe the Elks or some of those clubs, I hear that memberships are diminishing in a lot of those places, and it's, I think, due to our aging population for the most part.
The Finlandia Association will hold its next AGM on April 3rd. Vanska points out you no longer have to be Finnish to be a member. Those rules changed when the Finlandia Club became an association.
Well, Thunder Bay lawyers, judges, and local court staff are getting ready for the big move. The new consolidated courthouse will be fully operational by April 14th. And while some feel there are still some issues like parking that need to be ironed out, there's a growing sense of excitement among local lawyers, with the opening date now just weeks away. It's almost time. In just over 2 weeks, this will be a functioning courthouse. Superior Court of Justice staff are set to move into the new consolidated courthouse on Monday, April 7th, and their counterparts from the Ontario Court of Justice will join them a week later.
Our association's been working.
Some members of the Thunder Bay Law Association have been calling for a new facility for nearly 25 years, and the anticipation is building.
I think our members are generally excited about getting into the new institution finally, because right now we have one court in the south side of the city, one court in the north side of the city, and for lawyers who practice in both of those courthouses, it's very difficult for them to do their job and service their clients properly.
There's going to be much better equipment in there.
Lawyer Lydia Stam is hopeful that new technology will create a more efficient legal system. There are still some concerns, however, namely a perceived shortage of parking spots for lawyers and their clients. Hasio would like to see an additional 15 to 20 spots made available to Law Association members.
We certainly do not have enough parking spots for our members right now. We probably need double of what they've allocated to us, and the parking authority tells us they're working on that.
Stam, however, doesn't believe parking will be as big an issue as many believe, though some lawyers may have to adjust their expectations.
From the Superior Court of Justice perspective, we're often short of parking. We're often traveling, like parking down by Safeways or elsewhere, because they don't have enough parking there. From the Ontario Court of Justice perspective, yeah, parking's going to be a big change.
Parking aside, the prevailing sentiment just weeks away from the move-in date is one of optimism.
Our members are pleased about this finally, our work's going to finally come to fruition. And the courthouse is good.
A 41-year-old woman had to be taken to hospital following a collision on the city's north side during the morning rush hour. According to police, the incident happened at the intersection of High Street and Oliver Road when a northbound car was struck while proceeding through the intersection by an eastbound SUV. The 42-year-old female driver of the SUV has been charged with failing to stop for a red light.
Officials with the city's Licensing and Enforcement Division are reminding Thunder Bay residents that it is an offense to plow snow into a back lane. The warning comes after a resident of Lucy Court called our newsroom to report that someone has created a huge pile of snow in the back lane behind her house. The 6-foot pile has effectively turned the laneway into a dead end right behind her home. City Bylaw Enforcement Manager Ron Beret says obstructing a back lane is an offense and could lead to fines or other punishment. The Bylaw Office has received several of these types of complaints this winter, but Beret says his bylaw officers require an address, a license plate, or some other information to identify the person doing the illegal plowing.
From a cocktail napkin sketch to a full-fledged prototype, a new initiative between Confederation College, the Northwestern Ontario Innovation Centre, and Cam Valley Industries is making ideas a reality for entrepreneurs big and small. The collaborative effort between the three is designed to connect top-of-the-line equipment and technology with the talents and resources located in Northwestern Ontario. The goal is to create a one-stop shop called MyZone. It will allow someone with a design or even just a concept to come in and talk about the idea, start planning, and even use their sophisticated equipment to build it. That equipment includes this mill turn center that was on display at the event. It allows for precision creation right here at home without the delays of outsourcing needed development work.
Europe and it's 2 months and then waiting for it to be shipped here, and then is it right when you get it when they're doing a prototype for a new piece of medical equipment? Well, innovation happens better when you can go back and forth in a quick manner and deal with the challenges of something new.
Confederation College students are already doing co-ops and getting hired on to work in MyZone.
Stroke is the third leading cause of death in our region, and that's why organizers of the Northwestern Ontario Regional Stroke Forum say education and the sharing of knowledge is essential. Some of the leading national and international stroke neurologists were brought together today to speak about the latest research and best practices when it comes to stroke care. Rochelle El-Soufi explains.
The goals of the Northwestern Ontario Regional Stroke Forum are to improve access to evidence-based prevention and care in order to reduce strokes, mortality, and residual disability. The director of Minor Stroke Unit, Dr. Leanne Kazobon, spoke about acute inpatient care of people suffering a stroke from admission through days 5 to 7.
Highlighting the benefits of stroke unit and coordinated care. So seeing where all of the different hospitals in the province fit in the system of stroke care and how we can actually bring the excellent care that we know will benefit patients. How do we bring it to the patients?
Director at the University Health Network Stroke Program, Dr. Frank Silver, gave an update on stroke management and care. He says they've made huge gains in their ability to treat stroke patients over the last 10 years.
To have patients in a specialized inpatient unit that has a special interest in stroke, and also the use of the clot-busting agents to dissolve clots that are causing ischemic stroke, that's stroke due to a blood clot. So we have pushed across Canada.
Neurologist and medical lead for the Stroke and Neurology Service at Thunder Bay Regional, Dr. Ayman Hassan, spoke about stroke mimickers, which are when people are present with something that looks like a stroke but isn't one.
We would like to know that there is a stroke mimickers, which are not stroke, but it's safe to give this patient the medication if we at least suspect or highly suspect that this is a stroke.
This forum is sponsored by the Northwestern Ontario Regional Stroke Network, which is one of 11 regional systems across the province to implement the Ontario Stroke System. Compared to the last 10 years, there's been a dramatic drop in mortality rates from stroke and improved outcomes for those who do experience a stroke. Rochelle El-Soufi, TBT News.
Scientists from Western University and NASA are asking for the public's help in finding meteorites from a fireball over southern Ontario earlier this week. The meteor lit up the skies just north of Lake Erie and is believed to have fallen somewhere near St. Thomas. The meteor's fireball was captured by a network of sky-watching cameras in southern Ontario and the northern U.S. Ron Charles reports.
Western University's network of all sky cameras captured the fireball Tuesday night. The cameras point directly up and use fisheye lenses to capture a 360-degree image of the sky every night. Western astronomy professor Peter Brown says the basketball-sized meteor caused a fireball a bit dimmer than the moon.
I should say it was a bright fireball, but it wasn't, light up daylight sort of fireball. It wasn't as spectacular, say, as the one in the Maritimes. It wasn't as bright as the one that occurred earlier in the week in the Maritimes.
That fireball, seen across the Maritimes, was bright enough to light up the ground and cast shadows. But scientists are more interested in the Southern Ontario meteor because their camera network gives them an idea of its original orbit. NASA's meteor tracker, Bill Cook, just happened to be doing research at Western when the fireball occurred. He says the meteor came from within Earth's orbit closer to the sun, which is rare.
So this is a very unusual orbit. So we're very interested in knowing what type of object was in this orbit.
Once that object hit the ground, it's likely the size of a golf ball. The Western University astronomers are hoping people living north of St. Thomas will keep an eye out for this strange-looking, smooth, dark rock. Ron Charles, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, typically when you get up to go to school in the morning, you don't expect to end up in a pool fully clothed. Confederation College aviation students, however, took part in dunker training today, and it could one day save their lives if their plane ends up submerged. Submerged aircraft fuselage egress, or SAFE training, was created 15 years ago and has quickly become the go-to class for commercial float plane pilots. The future pilots hit the pool at LU in makeshift cockpits, going through multiple scenarios and how to get out alive. The training becomes instinct after a couple runs and will be their best weapon if submerged.
That they're going to be upside down, which is very unusual, and then teach them a 4-part series, which is basically find the door, open it, find a reference point, get your life vest and your belt off and out the door. And once they've got it mastered and they get their heart rate down, then from that point on, it's an imprint in their psyche. They never forget this.
The biggest thing about being a pilot is procedure, right? And they put that, there's a procedure 1, 2, 3, 4. And so as long as you remember what to do next and where to do it, it happens pretty quickly.
Since the training began, Brian Webster has personally trained 5,000 people. 14 of them have come back to say thanks after they survived crashes in the water.
March is Nutrition Month in Canada, and dietitians across the country are trying to teach people the ins and outs of healthy eating. The District Health Unit hosted the Fun Family Cook-Off last night to try and bring the family experience back into the kitchen. Families with children between the ages of 8 and 12 put on their aprons and got ready to cook an array of simple dishes. Each station featured a registered dietitian to teach the families new nutrition facts along the way. The goal of the event is to prepare future generations with the knowledge of cooking and pass along skills to choose a healthy eating lifestyle.
Usually eat healthier if they cook more meals at home, do more cooking from scratch. You have more control over the ingredients. So giving people an opportunity to come out and spend this time with their kids, maybe spark the kids' interest a little bit in cooking.
We're here to learn how to cook because it's important to cook healthy. If you want to work in a restaurant, then you have to know how to cook.
Sometimes if you don't cook like healthy food, you might probably get sick, or you won't get that much healthiness in your body.
The families made a variety of dishes, including tacos and tortillas, rabbit salad, chicken stir fry, and pumpkin patch muffins.